What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. You made it. It's the Friday Live with Lauren show. I am Lauren, your host. If you haven't been here before, you are in for a treat today. If you have been here before, you know the deal. We're going to have awesome guests. We're going to have fun topics. You're going to laugh. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to level up. We're going to give away some stuff. We got sponsors. We got prizes. Everybody loves a little treat. Somebody shared the post today and said that. I think it was Liz. So everybody loves a little treat. Maybe it was Michelle. I don't know. Do you love a little treat? Let me know. Start commenting. This is not an audio event. We can't see you unless you let us know you're there. Did LinkedIn let you know we're live? Will you share the show? Please. Pretty please. My mother taught me to ask nicely. I'm asking nicely today. Please share the show. Let me get our guest. While you are doing that and commenting where you are joining us from, I'm going to bring on Miss Charlotte Lloyd. What's up, Charlotte?
Hey.
Hey.
Great to see you. Great to be here.
I am so excited to have you on today. I feel like I have been fangirling over you on LinkedIn forever. You have one of the only newsletters I actually read when it hits my inbox. It's not a snooze letter. It's actually very good, y'all. I will make her drop the link for it later. But y'all, can you please welcome Charlotte Lloyd to the house? Charlotte, I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for that intro and non-snooze letter. Yeah, I jumped on that about a year ago, actually, because I thought I was sick of reading newsletters that were just so long and boring. So I thought, well, let's make it a non-snooze letter. Let's make it a bit different. So yeah, that's where I got the name.
To begin with, and I love it. I think it's great. There's only a couple newsletters I actually read that hit my inbox. Charlotte's is one of them. Tom Slocum's is another one. But y'all, while we got Charlotte here and you guys are commenting away, Charlotte, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Can you tell everybody who is Charlotte Lloyd?
Who is Charlotte Lloyd? Yeah, I often ask myself that question. So I I was in sales for 22 years as an individual contributor, 16 years as a sales director. I was one of these people who consciously chose a sales career. Now, most people don't. Most people fall into sales. So that kind of makes me a little bit different. Why did I choose sales? I thought I could be a lawyer, or I had the opportunity to study law. But I thought, no, sales seems more exciting. Seems like there's more possibilities. I wanted to work for a big brand. I wanted to travel. I ended up hitting the phones when I first started in my first role in London, worked with some really big brand names, then I spent my sort of later years in sales working for a big media brand called Financial Times, which is kind of competes with the Wall Street Journal. Traveled to, in that sales career, I did about 50 countries. So I did a lot of networking events, face-to-face meetings. And then suddenly COVID hit and I changed roles and I moved into an enterprise role. We couldn't travel. We couldn't meet face-to-face. So we had to get very good at doing LinkedIn, email, multi-channel outreach became a lot more important 5 years ago, although it's always been there. But I've gone from selling on the phones, cold calling, sending faxes, sending terrible emails, to then having to switch and change outreach, and everything switched up post-COVID. So I then started creating content on LinkedIn purely with the intention of wanting to help other sales reps who, were struggling after COVID. A lot of people needed some tips and tactics. So I thought, well, why not put it out there? I've changed a lot in my career. I'm in my 40s now. Had a long career in sales, and I thought, why not give back? 2 years later, this kind of snowballed. I built a side business while I was still in corporate, which in the UK, I was working for a UK company. I'm actually based in Spain. I'm here in Madrid. This is part of the background here. I'm outside. And I switched roles, and I thought this is the time now to start creating content. I was a bit nervous at first. So built that side business while I was still in a corporate role, and then went all in last year. And now I actually first I started working with B2B, doing B2B consulting, training sales teams. That was my very first client that got me into the business. As you know, it no longer was a side business, it became my own business. And then I made a pivot and decided that I really wanted to help solopreneurs, business owners, coaches, consultants on LinkedIn who, started contacting me through my content, started working with a few of them, and then built my business around that, and really enjoy working with these people who, appreciate that they need sales skills to be able to get clients for their business.
Yes. Y'all.
It's a long intro.
No, but it's perfect because I think it really tells everyone, like, Charlotte has been there. Charlotte has done that. This is going to be advice that Charlotte has tested throughout her career. So if you don't have your notepad ready, I hope you're going to watch the replay later, because you're going to learn something today that's actually going to help you advance your career and be a better salesperson, close more deals, and get more clients. Literally everything you said is just reinforcing the fact that these topics today are going to be chef's kiss. I'm super excited. Okay, if you're watching, you can always ask questions in the chat. Don't forget. You guys know that we have some sponsors. One above my head, Better Leap. If you are a recruiter, Better Leap is phenomenal. Sourcing candidates, accurate contact information. It saves me so much time. It's one of the reasons I can actually do this show and have all the time to put back into this show, is because I get to save a lot of time in part of my recruiting business. And then we also have Sendoso in the house right above Charlotte's head. If you're not using Sendoso as part of your sales experience, just throw a little gift in there here and there, sign a new deal, send a little something. Y'all, everybody loves a little treat. And if you are watching, you can comment Sendoso to be entered to win today's gifting experience, which is I can't even say it now, Charlotte. We tried to practice before the show. Tiny terracotta tomato plant.
Tomato plant.
I'm learning to say it like Charlotte. And like Paul said in the comments, always love a good old UK accent. Yes, Paul, we do. And hello, friend. Good to see you. So glad you're able to make it. Liz says it's Friday. Yay. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Liz. I'm ready for that shot of tequila. Are you? Mark, it's coming in from Boca Raton. Wet weather. Yes, we're about to get some horrible weather in Florida. We got Felipe in the house, Jamie Yates, Matthew from Buffalo, San Antonio, and Andrew. Michelle is here from Oregon. What, Michelle? That's crazy. Yes, the nails are red today. We switched it up, and happy Friday.
Orange. You can't really see them.
Hers are orange. Mine are kind of orangey red. I don't know. Comment Sendoso, win the prize, win the tiny terracotta tomato plant so I can send it to you. You do have to be in the United States. If you are not, you can send it to somebody in the United States. And if that doesn't work for you, I'll find you something else that we can ship to wherever you live, and we'll make it work because we want everybody to be happy. Sound good? All right. We're already 10 minutes into the show. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Charlotte, are you ready to jump into topic number 1?
Let's jump into topic number 1.
Okay. So first topic, everybody, if you are in sales, if you are a business owner trying to get some clients, this is for you. We're going to talk about sales and finding your next client. So Charlotte, you and I both own businesses, right? So finding new clients are always top of mind. What are the most effective strategies that you've seen or that you're using today to attract your new clients?
Yeah. So the first thing is, when you wake up, when you own your business, if you're not doing this already, you need to be thinking, where is my next client coming from? I speak with a lot of business owners had referral, word of mouth, which is really great. And, in an ideal world, that's all we would need, right? We wouldn't need to look for new business and look for new clients. So the first thing is where is my next client coming from? Talking about the habits, what you need to do. So I say focus on the fundamentals. So we're only going to find new clients if we start conversations. I'm going to leave the social media part out because obviously social media is also key. We're going to come on to LinkedIn after this. But you need to be starting conversations with people every day. Now, how many conversations do you start? This all depends on what your goal is in terms of revenue. So if you need to make a certain number each month, what's that revenue goal? You need to work out, okay, how many people, how many new clients do I need to reach out to? Is it 20 a day? Is it 10 a day? Is it 5 a day? Everyone will be different. So that's the first thing. Where's my next client coming from? And what is my revenue goal? And what activities do I need to do to be able to hit that goal? So for some of you, it could be 20 clients, it could be 10, or it could be 5, but you need to start those conversations. The second thing is you're going to feel fear and you're going to feel uncomfortable, even if you've been a sales rep, right, with your own business. Like reaching out to get clients, the sales aspect is what makes people feel like anxiety. I have a lot of entrepreneurs that I work with, consultants as well, who they put it off, right? They don't feel that they're very confident, and you need to have that confidence, but you also need to be completely ready for rejection, right? Because if you reach out to 10 people, probably 8 people or more are going to say no. And that's what often derails people. They think, oh, I've been doing this. And, they don't start small, they start big. And then they realize that they get a lot of rejection. They think, oh, I'm just going to give up because it's too hard. So that's the first thing. You've got to be ready for that rejection. You've got to embrace that rejection. Do these things as first thing in the morning as well. So another thing we say from the sales world is, sales reps usually hate cold calling. You've got to be able to do this, the hardest tasks at the beginning of the day. Most business owners, based on my experience and ones that I work with, and when they come to me, they hate the sales part of their business. So they'll focus on things that don't really matter, like the website, the shiny objects. Oh, I need to do the branding. I need to do another lead magnet, all this. No. Your first priority is getting those next clients. So starting those sales conversations, but knowing your numbers, and knowing exactly what you need to do each day. And if that's the 60-minute time block, perfect. You don't need to spend all day on the sales part of your business, but it does need to be a priority. One of the things, being a sales rep for 22 years, we would time block all our cold calling activities, cold emailing. So essentially that's what you want to do, but don't let it consume you either. So another thing, be ready for rejection. Like I said before, really important that you're tuned into that. You're going to get a lot of no's, but you're also going to learn a lot as well. And if you don't make the effort to get clients, they're not always going to come to you.
For real. And what Paul says is so true. The worst thing someone can say is no. And if you don't ask, you can't get a yes. You have to be willing to ask. Paul, love this point. Thank you. We got Marcello from Atlanta in the house. Got to say what's up. Because he is team live with us. We were talking right before the show about how not enough people have tapped into this live show market. You are team live with us. And yes, everything starts with a conversation. Charlotte is on point today. Yes. I call this swallowing the frog. Swallow the frog.
Swallow the frog.
It's
not. I say, like, imagine that you're in a room with that person. You're not going to go up and say, "Oh, hey, I was just, you're not going to suddenly pitch your service, are you? You're not going to say, "Hey, you interested in having a conversation about, sending, I don't know, 20 emails or more or a week, or how you're not going to start and just a conversation and launch into what it is that you offer when you meet somebody in person. You're going to start that conversation and be a bit interested in them, in their world. And this is, when you're doing this on email or it's in the LinkedIn DMs, for example, you've got to approach it this way. There's so many people that are just coming in straight pitch slapping, and it's, I get lots and lots of pitch slaps every single day, and it's so disappointing because so many people are just not putting this new approach, this making it about the prospect first, not you and your service. It's still quite, it's still very prevalent that people are just going for the whole, let's hit you up and pitch you my services and let's see where it goes. It's like you can throw mud at a wall, some of it will stick, but most of it won't. So that's the thing. Be human. I know a lot of people want to automate their outreach, and there's parts of that, there's tools that can help you be more efficient with your conversations. But ultimately, if you really, depending on what your business is as well, but if you really want to be able to get that new client, you've really got to put them first. You've really got to make it about them. It's not say, I enjoyed your comment on this post. So what about the comment did you enjoy? Or something about their business that you notice, but why? Why is that important? There's so much generic outreach out there, and it's boring.
It's so true. I had somebody reach out to me the other day and they used this show as the reason they reached out. Hi, Lauren. I saw an episode of the show. They didn't mention who the guest was, anything about the show, no, nothing. But you saw the show. Hi, now, okay, here's my sales pitch. And it's like, that one sentence doesn't make this personalized. That one sentence doesn't save you from the pitch slap coming. Y'all, it's not that hard to really build a relationship. We do have a question really quick. I want to pull it up. It says, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this reframe my mentor gave me? Sales is service. Delivery is what will separate you from the rest. What do you think?
Yes. So sales, you are serving that person, right? You're coming from a place of serving and a place of helping. So sales is a service. What's going to set you apart is how you treat that person as well once you've got the sale. So it's not just about getting the sale, it's about what you're doing after that point as well. Especially if you have a high ticket offer, what makes you different to everybody else? Like, why should they invest in, say, your program over somebody else's? Like, what are you offering? How are you making that person feel different? When I ask my clients what it is about me that why did they, like, in that moment that they decided to work with me, how are they feeling in that moment? That's one of the things that I ask them. They say, I love your energy. I love your confidence, that you really know what you're doing. You really want to help me. And, if you look at some of my recommendations on LinkedIn, a lot of them say that. It's like that whole, I really want them to get that result. So, that's what I do with them when my clients come to me. We work together, we get that result. But it's that place of genuine, you genuinely loving what you're doing, because everything about running a business, there's some really crappy parts that, it's not glamorous. It really isn't. And you've really got to love and be aligned with why, you're doing this and what the outcome is for your client. That's another thing. And, if you're in a sales role, it's a bit different because you're selling somebody else's service or solution. So you're kind of more disconnected from it, but you still have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe that this is, going to change somebody's life, right? So when you approach people with new conversations, the way I approach it is, my service is going to change somebody's life. It's going to impact them in some way. They're going to feel more confident. They're going to be able to sell more. They're going to be able to do things that they thought they couldn't do. They're going to make more money. They're going to get more income. That's going to make them feel better. Then they're going to be able to do things like maybe go on that vacation that they always wanted to go on, or maybe it's that they want to invest in the business again. But always talk about tangible outcomes as well.
Yes. So speaking about like how we make people feel, one of the things that I've recognized in my business is the better that my clients feel, the more referrals I can leverage. I want to talk specifically about the role that referrals and word of mouth plays in this kind of like client acquisition. How can people watching really maximize that?
Yeah. So the easiest sale is a referral. So a lot of sales reps, funnily enough, when I was in sales for 22 years, they don't leverage referrals enough. And, it's something that, especially if you're running your own business, maybe you want to offer that person a referral fee. That also is it's not a bad strategy, right? But even if, that, as you were saying, Lauren, that's like really telling, because when people start referring you, then it's like, it's powerful. It's really powerful. And, people need to ask more for referrals. I think some people, sometimes you can feel like, oh, I'm a little bit too shy, or I don't want to brag about how good I am. And, but you must, same with testimonials, right? You need to ask for testimonials. Usually, when you first start working with that person, or, whoever it is that you're working with, get a testimonial. If they're getting a result straight out the gate, get a testimonial from them, because they feel good about that service and what you're doing for them in that moment. And if they get more results, they'll probably give you another testimonial again. So it's okay to ask the same person for, maybe you want to get a video testimonial, or maybe you want to get a written testimonial on your LinkedIn. Perfectly fine. If they enjoy working with you and they're getting results, then there's no reason why they shouldn't refer you or give you a testimonial. But what I see is not enough business owners leverage testimonials to their full potential in the way that they tell the story, the before, the after, focusing on the emotion of that. So that's something as well. So not just referrals, but make sure you get enough testimonials and social proof.
Yes. And do this. If you're employed in corporate, do this while you're employed in corporate. If you have your own business, do it right now. Do these things now. You never know when you're going to be on the other end of this conversation and you're going to be the job seeker who's watching this, who's looking. Having all of those things helps you as well when you're in your job search. So please remember that. It's very important to do these things. I asked for a lot of referrals when I first got going. I was not shy. I was like, hey, it's me. Referrals all day. Who do you know? Pass it around, right? But then I got some clients and I stopped. And for like 8 months, I stopped asking for referrals. And then one day I was like, I haven't done that in a while. Why haven't I tapped into that part of my network? So now it's literally something that every quarter I divide part of my contacts and I will go through every quarter and say, hey, it's me checking in again. Like, if I'm not top of mind, if I'm not like reminding people I exist, they're not thinking about me. So now every quarter I just pop in and I'm like, hey, and it's on my to-do list so that I actually go out and ask for referrals every quarter. But it was something that I was really good about in the beginning that I was not. When I think that it's something that a lot of people don't tap into enough. So super important for us to talk about.
Yeah. Not to rely on referrals, but having them plus your outreach and, doing your sales conversations, most important things.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move into talking more about social media and LinkedIn side of this, but don't forget you can comment Sendoso to win the Modern Sprout Tiny Terracotta Garden Cherry Tomato Plant. There we go. I found it while Charlotte was talking. So comment Sendoso if you would like to win that. And then we're now going to move into why LinkedIn needs to be on your radar for client acquisition. Y'all, have you ever got a client from LinkedIn? Let me know in the comments. Yes, no, I've never tried. I'm too scared. Only rejection. Let us know because we want to help you. We want to answer your questions about this. But while you're asking questions, Charlotte, LinkedIn's grown way beyond networking, right? Like I think a lot of us got on LinkedIn to network, but it's not. So now from your perspective, since it's shifted and it's grown, what do you think are like the tactics people should be using to leverage LinkedIn as a business owner?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've tried all the social media platforms. So it's one thing to say about LinkedIn is that it is the best platform. It's the most powerful platform for your business. Some people might, if you're doing a B2C type more business like TikTok or, drop shipping, that kind of thing, then TikTok might be your thing. Or if you're more into fashion, it could be Instagram. But with LinkedIn, if you're a consultant, a coach, have a service-based business, it is an extremely powerful platform. And the first thing to point out is that LinkedIn has 1 billion registered users, but only 3 million people are posting frequently. More people have come in this year. The competition has gone up. It's getting harder, but it's not impossible because the ratio of you being able to stand out if you post consistently. So posting consistently 5 times a week. If you're not posting at all, start 3 times a week, because what we want is to create that consistency. Make sure you're posting the right content. But LinkedIn is full of genuine professionals as well. You compare it to platforms like Twitter, there's a lot more joking going on, and it's a lot harder to leverage a platform like Twitter, for example. It's really important for your business that people know who you are, that you build that trust and authority through your content. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to post on LinkedIn. It's not going to work. I don't want to share stories. There are boundaries with LinkedIn, but think about it like your business. A lot of people use social media to impress their friends, don't they? That was what people did originally. It wasn't to market their services or their business. Too many people are afraid, first of all, of how they're going to appear when they post. Who's going to see this? What people are going to think? You've got to throw that completely away. Like, you really got to get over that. The second thing is, if you don't create content, if you're not putting out information about your services, if you're not talking about problems, pain points that your ideal clients face, then LinkedIn's a free platform to do this. You're not paying any money to do it. It's free advertising. So it's kind of insane that you wouldn't do it, right? If your ideal clients are all there, it totally makes sense that you start creating content, because what we want, yes, we want to have new conversations, but it's so much better when that person knows who you are. They might have been following you, your content for quite a while, lurkers, they come forward and they say, wow, I'm ready to work with you now. I really get what you're doing. You really spoke to me in your posts. I feel that you understand me. I want to work with you. So your content on LinkedIn is doing that heavy lifting for you. So your sales process is easier because you've attracted the right clients to you. So people know who you are. People want to buy your service because of that. The consistency, the fact that they see you, the fact that you're being seen, you're being heard, you're speaking about their problems, you're showing how you can solve those problems. So that's the first thing, is that content is your biggest leverage to make those sales conversations flow much better. The worst thing is, and I've seen a lot of reps do this, and still, sales reps don't particularly want to post content. They say, I've got too much going on, like I have to do all my outreach. But it makes such a difference when your clients know who you are. So I would be on calls when I was in my corporate role. Even I was selling to governments, right? They were the most inactive people on LinkedIn. They never went on LinkedIn. They posted like a year ago, or they reposted stuff, right? The worst kind of people to prospect to, because it's just like, but they still would go on their LinkedIn and check it. I just didn't know when. I'd get on discovery calls with them and they'd say to me, I saw that post the other day about objections, and I just like shared it with a few of my colleagues, or people, companies would say, I shared this with the sales team. I told them to go follow you. So I would be on calls thinking, but you've never engaged or liked my posts, but you're seeing them. Aha, now. So, your post doesn't need to get thousands of impressions, right, to get clients. It's always the posts that get the least impressions that get the clients. That's the general rule. But this reinforces the fact that even when you don't feel like posting, there's going to be days or weeks where you think, I'm just done with this. I don't want to keep up the consistency. You must, because I have so many stories of people that have come forward to me. I landed my biggest deal, which got me out of corporate and into my business full time. It was a 6-figure deal, $110,000. It was from a guy who was head of a real estate company in Dubai. He wasn't connected to me. He wasn't even following me. He came into my DMs and he said, I need some sales training. I really like what you're putting out there about, at the time it was about cold calling. And we got on a few calls, and that was it. The deal closed within a month. So this is the power of your content, right? Of being seen. And even if a lot of people say to me, wow, well, I've got my business, but I don't know how to post. It's like simple systems. Same with the sales outreach. You need a simple system to follow to be able to do this. It's not as hard as you think. It's going to change your life, and it's potentially going to change other people's lives as well. So being seen on LinkedIn, critical that you build that relationship with your ideal clients. Because yesterday I was on a call with a guy in, where was he? Which part of the US? Can't remember now, but he was on Eastern time, but he said to me, I've been seeing your content for a year. And only recently was he starting to like posts, and he has just moved from a sales role into his own business. So yeah, and I have every week there's several people that come forward to me like this and say that they've been following my content, but I've never seen them like or engage. So just remember that I always say the deals are in the darkness. Yes. You've got to get out there. People will come forward, but the only way it doesn't work is if you're focusing on the wrong kind of consistency, and that's a whole other topic, or you're giving up, right? So yes. Be mindful of those things. And you can say the same, Lauren, because you've been on LinkedIn for quite a while too, and it's changed your life.
Completely changed my life. And I think the other thing that I want to hit on, because you talked about sometimes you're interacting or engaging with people on LinkedIn who don't seem to be very active, right? They don't seem to be, I think is what the key of this part is. Because the people that I connect with who are not very active on LinkedIn, they don't have a ton of connections, followers, whatever. when I talk to those people outside of LinkedIn, they're like, Lauren, every time I get on LinkedIn, I see 30 of your posts. Like and they don't like my posts. They don't engage with my posts. It's not what they're doing. That's not their
It's
social
incredible,
media
isn't it?
platform. But they're like, you're all over this platform. I went to dinner with someone and they're like, I didn't know I met the queen of LinkedIn. I was like, okay, that's uncomfortable. Please don't say that ever again. Like, that's not it. But it's just funny to me because if I would have never started posting on LinkedIn, I would have never started working for myself. I wouldn't be in this position I am. I wouldn't be interviewing people like you. I wouldn't be in this podcast studio. I'd still be working in some stupid corporate job for some horrible boss that I hated because I thought that was my end all be all. And I thought my dream was to get my name on the corner office and climb the ladder. And y'all, that is not my dream. My dream is to make enough money for myself that I can go travel and have a great life and do whatever I want and not have to worry about the bills being paid and just enjoy life. Like my vision changed, my dreams changed, and a lot of that changed when I started working for myself. So I'm not saying don't work for yourself right away, but maybe consider it.
It really is. Yeah. I wouldn't have started my business if I hadn't started posting on LinkedIn. There's absolutely no way. And even 18 months ago, if you told me that I would have made this my own business, I still would have been like, what? Really? There was something about it I just couldn't believe. But you've got to do it because you just don't know what can happen, right? Yeah. And when you then put your mind to it, you've got clients on LinkedIn and YouTube. I can look at some of the comments. Focus on the channel that's best where your clients are. If they're on Instagram or TikTok, wherever, then perfect. I think having a YouTube and a LinkedIn is fine. Video is very powerful. But focusing as well on too many channels, that's what you don't want to do, because then you're spreading yourself too thin. And it's like, there's very few people that can do all the social media channels really well. And even the people that have got like nailing LinkedIn, they look like they're nailing other channels. They might not be. So that's another thing to remember. I prefer to focus all my efforts on LinkedIn. I've done Instagram and I've been down a whole different route there. And LinkedIn, from what, and Twitter as well, it's really difficult. They're very difficult platforms. And from what I'm doing, LinkedIn is the best one to be on.
For me, Twitter is just to make like one snarky sentence and screenshot it and then post it on LinkedIn. That's the only reason I have a Twitter. And I don't even do that often. Yes, Marcello, I got to comment on this. This happened to me, not at a Panera Bread, but I was out with my girlfriend at American Social one night, and this guy came up to me and he was like, do I know you from LinkedIn? I was like, oh my God, I tried to recruit you for a job. How uncomfortable. Yeah. It's so awkward.
That happens. Oh.
And no, Andrew, I never worked for you, but I probably will never work for anybody else again in my life other than myself.
There's the thing. Once you work for yourself, there's no going back. There's absolutely no going back, because it's just so much better. I've had, in my last role before I came into my own business, the company I was at was terrible. I'm not going to say their name, but the things that were going on were just, it was just incredible. Like, looking back at it, that's one of the reasons that I started posting content as well, not just to help with other people, business owners and sellers, but it was because I thought, well, this is so much better than actually being in a corporate role. At least this is going somewhere. I can control this. You have all the control on social media when you put out your post and the way that you engage with people. So it's very powerful. So many people are held back by fear. And really, it's like, I always say, like, what is the worst thing that can happen? You might lose friends, when you realize who your friends are as well. The further you get into your business and the more successful you get. And, those people are not your people. So that's another thing to caveat there.
100%. All right, y'all, we're at the halfway point. So don't forget, you can comment Sindoso, our official gifting sponsor. So you can win a Modern Sprout Tiny Terracotta Garden Cherry Tomato Plant. I think this is the most fun I've ever had saying the name of a giveaway ever on the show. Shout out to Katie
I'll say tomato.
I was saying tomato, and then Charlotte's like, I say tomato. So now I had to say her way for the show. But I'm going to let Charlotte take a small break. We'll see you in about 2 minutes, Charlotte. See you in 1 second. I want to tell you guys quickly, while you're commenting Sindoso for the giveaway, typically right now we do High Five Friday. Michelle Craig is on vacation or working remotely or something. I think you all saw she's not joining us. If you saw in the comments, she's in Oregon. I'm going to do a little clip of high fives from the past so that you all can see what this is like if you've never done it before. We also would love it if you would submit your own high five. This is going to cover my face. Are you ready? This is the link for the High Five Friday. I'm doing this on purpose so that you have to. Anyway, that is so you can submit a high five. I'll drop it up later again, but would love it if you guys would submit a high five. Michelle is actually our special guest next week. Michelle was the very first guest I ever had on the Friday Live with Lauren show before it was even called the Friday Live with Lauren show, before we knew this was going to be like a continued thing. So Michelle's going to be our guest next week. I'm super excited. Check out this clip. We will be right back.
Hey everybody, happy Friday as always. Douglas for Vicky Stepperson. Vicky's going to hate this limelight. Sorry, Vicky, but she deserves this high five and a million more. She's behind the scenes, always organized, always bringing data, always giving thoughtful and on-point feedback. One of the most amazing listeners and a phenomenal problem solver. I'm constantly in awe and admiration of her. And a bonus high paw five for her doggo Bentley too. Katie Penner from Sendoso has a shout out for Junior. Huge shout out to Junior for hosting an open Zoom call with me today to share some tips and tricks openly with the community. Junior is always down to participate in crazy ideas and to help others. Lindsay, have Joshua Bailey for Karen Bailey. I want to celebrate Karen for all the amazing work she has done editing and directing our team's videos. She's taught herself from scratch and is becoming a top player in the content creation game. It's crazy what skills she has learned in a few short months. Not least, Lindsay Dowd for her Hype Squad. It was a super tough week this week for my family as we said goodbye to my father-in-law. My Hype Squad stepped up with so much love and support. Please high five Andrew DeGood, Ricky Passanelli, Mark Holden, Michelle Pack, and Doug Scope. I'm so lucky to have them in my corner and my heart. Sending you all of the love, Lindsay, and amazing to have such a great group supporting you. Thanks, y'all. Don't forget to submit for next week.
Okay, we're back. And I miss Michelle, so I'm so excited Michelle will be back next week. We're going to have her for a full hour. We'll see who does the high fives. We might have a little surprise for you there. Got to chat with Michelle. I'm going to get Charlotte back out here in a minute. There was the QR code. I also dropped the link in the chat. So there's the link to submit a high five. There's a link to check out Sendoso, and there's a link to check out Better Leap. All of the things are in the chat. You can find them all. And as Marcello said, you can rewind the live stream after the show, pause it, and screenshot away. And yes, please get your high fives in for next week when Michelle gets back. We're so excited to celebrate all of you and the amazing things happening in your network. And with that, let me get Charlotte back. What's up?
Hello.
Hello, hello. All right. We got two more super important topics, 20 minutes left in the show, and a giveaway. It's going by so fast. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. I was like, we got a delay. We're going to jump into goal setting with revenue. Y'all, if you are not using revenue as a goal when you're doing your planning, what are you doing? What are you doing? So revenue shapes the direction of our entire business, Charlotte. You agree, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
So what are the frameworks that we're using today, like practical steps that people can use to actually achieve their targets?
Yeah. So simplify. How much revenue does your business make a year? Right. Break it down into how much money do I need to make a month and per week? Right. Because again, this will dictate how many conversations you need to have, how many new conversations you need to have. That's tied into your revenue goal. So if you're making 50K or 100K a month, how many clients do you need to get to that number? And how much do you need? I prefer to break down my revenue goal into a weekly goal. So it's more achievable that way rather than looking at like, oh, okay, I've got to make all this month. So break it into the weekly amounts. And then, okay, so how many conversations do I need to have? 10 meetings a week. If I'm making, say, 20K a week, do I need to have 10 meetings a week to be? And again, it depends on the size of your offer here. So, if your offer's 5K, 10K, how many people do you need to sell to in that week to make 20K? It's going to be what? 3 people, 4 people. So how many meetings do you need to have with these people, with these businesses to get those 4? And again, a good conversion rate is 1 in 3. So every 3 people you speak to, 1 person should be saying yes, right? So if you've got 9 meetings in a week, that's 3 people saying yes. If more people are saying yes, then I say your prices aren't high enough. Because we don't want too many people saying yes, right? Because services aren't for everyone. And if they are, then you're obviously somebody with a low ticket offer who's just going for volume, which I don't think many of you are here anyway. So, high ticket offer, not everybody is going to say bite-sized revenue snacks. Ashley, yeah, exactly. Not everyone's going to say yes, but a really good target to aim for is 1 in 3. If that's not happening, then we need to look at what's going on with your messaging. So is your messaging wrong, i.e. your content? What's happening there? You're not targeting the pain enough. You're not sharing enough testimonials. Your messaging in the DMs or in emails, or if you're doing on your calls as well, like what's happening there? What are you saying on your sales call? There's a problem either with conversion. So it could be the quality of your conversation or the questions that you're asking or not asking, and what you're saying before you book that meeting. So before, when you're in the DMs or on email, what's happening with your messaging? So there's those 3 things that I look at. If people come to me and they say, I'm not converting enough, usually it's because they're not speaking to enough clients. That's one of the first problems. So they're not having enough conversations to hit that revenue goal. And then the second thing ties into messaging. So what they're saying when they're in the DMs, a lot of business owners struggle with moving the conversation away from like a friend zone and then into a question around pain points, and really like being a doctor when you're in the LinkedIn DMs. You've got to try and diagnose if they have a problem. Can you help them solve it? Do they want to solve it? What have they tried already, right? Are they already like working on this? How has that gone? Why do they suppose that they're having this business problem that you solve for? And then being confident and pivoting to asking them for a meeting. But again, a lot of people as well, they get onto the sales call, and then the sales call turns into either a coffee chat or it becomes too friendly. So it's not, a lot of people don't specify when they're on that call, here's the agenda, here's what, and we're not talking selling B2B here. It doesn't have to be a formal, here's the agenda, but you have to be very clear from the outset that you're going to be exploring what it's like to work together. So that's another thing. A lot of people don't say that. So they worry, the call gets to the end and it's like they haven't discussed any, they've identified pain. They might have identified the impact of that pain if the person doesn't solve it. And then they get to this part of the conversation where it's like, oh, okay, so that's, and then they end up giving too many tips. And that's another thing that we don't want to do on that first discovery call. It's all about discovery. We want to understand exactly how our prospect might be feeling, what they need help with, and where they're stuck. Yeah. So going back to, that was a very broad brush of everything, but yeah, you really need to know your numbers. So again, the bite-sized chunks, as Ashley nicely coined it, understand those numbers, what you need to do each day, each week, what's the minimum amount of activity. And that will change likely month to month, but you might see a dip in the summer months. So I always say that, your business doesn't close in summer, it's your attitude that does. So you can always be, even if you take a vacation, I'm going on vacation in a couple of weeks, but I'm not going to take any Zoom calls. I'll probably do some LinkedIn DMs, but I'm not going to be sat in front of my laptop. So my business is still running. My content will still go out. If people want to book a meeting with me, they will, or, it won't be in that week. So really think, analyze, be very good at analyzing what went well in 1 month. Why did that go well? Another thing that I like to do is at the end of each week, sit down and analyze what went well, what didn't work so well, what do I need to change, what gave me energy and what drained me of energy. Because again, as a business owner, Lauren, you'll know this, you've also got to outsource. So yes. What gave me energy, what drains me of energy, outsource what drained you of energy. But you really have to understand each week what worked well and what didn't. And not enough people actually write this down and keep a record of it, right? So that's a really important thing. I actually have a whiteboard in my office. I have 2 whiteboards. I have one which sort of tells me how many meetings I book, because I like to write it down because I'm competing with myself to get meetings. And then I have a big whiteboard which has, okay, here are my top 3 priorities for this week. What do I need to do to get to those priorities? What's my plan B if that doesn't work? So again, really important that you have that in front of you as well, and that you keep track of, you're keeping yourself accountable.
Yes. What do you say to people who are like, you know what, Charlotte, my business is doing well. I want to set this really ambitious goal, right? We still have to have realistic expectations in our business and what we can accomplish, but we also do have to shoot for the stars if we want to actually do something, right? So how do you actually balance that really ambitious goal with those realistic expectations for your business?
Yeah. So the thing is if let's say you've got like 1 or 2 clients and you're like, okay, so in 2 months, I want to get 15 clients. It's a bit big, right? It's a bit of a jump. So you're also going to put pressure on yourself. So it's okay to be ambitious and have big goals. Of course, we all have that when we start our business, or we should have that. But what's manageable and achievable? If you want to make $800,000, $1 million in your first year, you're probably not going to do that. You want to make it a bit of a smaller goal first, right? So that could be your goal in year 2, but you really need to think about, okay, what am I doing now? If I'm already making 100K a month, then $1 million a year is achievable, right? That's achievable. But again, it's about breaking those goals down, because when we often see the very big lofty goal and we're not there and we're quite far away, it can be quite disconcerting, and it can almost demotivate you, and that's what we don't want.
Right. All right. I think this is a perfect segue into our last topic, just talking about mastering sales and content and having a good offer. And having a good offer is something that most people, even if they have it, they can't articulate it, and they can't articulate it well. And I think that that's another problem people have. In the last segment, you spoke a little bit about if too many people are saying, yes, your price is too low. I've spoken with people who that is for sure what's happening. Then they up the price, but now they can't articulate the offer well enough to sell. What do you say when that happens?
Yeah. So again, this ties into, are they really doing a really good discovery call, first of all? Because are they asking the right questions? Because, are they communicating the value in the right way? Probably not. And this is, where a lot of people, sort of their downfall is most people price themselves too low. Every business owner that I come across, they're pricing themselves way too low. And again, that's because that's that lack of confidence. And it's like, well, if I just price it too low, more people will say yes. No, they won't. They won't if they don't see the value. I always say when you're investing in something like coaching, for example, I sell coaching, the more expensive it is, the better, because it means that, that person, if they're investing from, it's not their business or the company that are paying, if they're investing from their own pocket, which most of the business owners I speak to, they're selling, B2C, some are selling B2B, which is different. If the offer, that person is meant to feel a bit of pain when they're investing that money, right? So it's not that, if it was really cheap, would they put in the work? So this is another thing, that the offer, when it's too low, you're going to attract the wrong type of clients, the ones that won't put in the work, that'll be a hassle, and they won't get the results. So you've got to know that, yes, your service is really good, but if you're offering a service or over 12 weeks to, say, an individual, you've got to price it accordingly. You've got to price it well. You're good. Maybe if you're starting out, yes, you price it a bit lower in the beginning, but I say if 5 clients are saying yes, right? If you're getting 5 clients, say, buying your $5,000 or $10,000 offer, then every 5 clients that say yes, that's when you've got to up your price.
Love it. Most people are too scared to do it.
They are, and they don't do it. They keep the prices the same for a long time. And this is the thing. It's like this whole, no, you've got to, if you have 1 month where you get, okay, 7 people have said yes at this price, now I'm going to go up. And if you feel a bit nervous, go up by $500, but don't be afraid to ask for more money, because ultimately, if you've got the social proof and the testimonials that whatever your services is working and it's getting results, then you should be upping your prices, not every year, but you've got to be doing this and getting used to it. And a lot of people are afraid to do this. And this is where this is what makes the difference between people who are good and great. Yeah. So to go from good to great, you've got to step into the fear. You will get people saying no, but again, it's about attracting the right type of client. You don't want people who, again, it all depends on your service, but you want to attract the best people. And the best people, I have some specific stories of people who, they're selling to 6 and 7 figure business owners, but the rate that they're charging is so much lower. And this is like, it's like, do you think that they can't afford it? Like, of course they can afford it. And there's always, there's usually a problem of they don't see the value. They might not be into you enough, right? Or into your, who you're about. So these are all things that, we can work with. But again, you've got to get confident at selling your offer at a higher ticket. Yeah. Unless you're doing something volume related, and you've got to have like over 150,000 followers probably on LinkedIn to do that, and to be able to do it at a low rate, right? That's what I say. It's like a lot of people come to me and they say, I want to create like a low ticket offer at volume and get loads of people in. I said, that really doesn't work for most people.
You're going to have to build for a long time before you get there, realistically. Yeah. And I will say,
another thing, if people see your first offer at low ticket, they're much less likely to buy at high ticket from you.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to go from selling a low ticket offer to suddenly like say if your offer's $100 a month, or, it's like very difficult to then go to like so now it's $3,000 my offer. It's very difficult to make that jump. So that's really one thing to think about there with structuring your offers.
Yes. And when you have a smaller business and you're working with a number of clients, it's also nicer when you're charging a higher price point, because you don't have to do so much work, y'all. I'll never forget when I actually raised my prices and I was like, hold on, now I have 1 client. I'm making the same money. In the last 6 months, I was supporting 4. This is nice.
Yes. Good thing is it's quality, isn't it? I mean, it's you want to do less, but have more leverage, right? So 100%. Yeah, you're working with less clients, but they're paying you double. Fantastic. Then you can deliver better as well.
Yes. Okay, if somebody's watching right now and they're like, okay, Charlotte, I know what my offer is. How can we help them frame something to be, I don't know, I like to say a little bit sexier, a little bit more irresistible, a little bit more attractive? What are some ways people can frame their sales process to help them frame this offer in this light?
Yeah. So the best way to do it is with content. Bring this out in your content, right? I'm actually quite serious in my content. I am a fun, energetic person, but my offer is about getting people clients. So you don't see me putting out any sort of fun LinkedIn posts in my content, because it's like, that's not what I'm about. So think about who your offer is for. What are you, and there's some people that, they do memes and everything on LinkedIn. It's great. And people buy into that, and that's perfectly fine. Depends what your service is about. So yeah, how can you make it more sexy, more irresistible? Again, it's just about getting out there, having conversations and getting to know people and leaning into people as well. Like, yes, I have a serious offer. Yes, my posts on LinkedIn are serious, but when people get on a call with me, they feel my energy, right? They feel the confidence. That's what they're buying into, not your service, what you do or how you do it. You're the prize, right? It's you that they're buying. It's you. It's they're buying into you. So, bring some personality into what you're doing, because that ultimately is, you've got to make what you're doing fun. You've got to enjoy it. And that comes across when people speak to you, right? When you're on calls, when you're putting out your content. If you want to put out fun content, fine. But what do you want to be known for? Like when people are not you're not in the room. This is what they say about personal branding, is it? What do people say about you when you're not in the room?
Yep.
How do you want people to? So when I started my side business, I spent a lot of time I asked 200 people who engage with my content regularly, what is it about my content that you like? Like, what would you say that's different about my content? What's that feeling that you get when you read it? And a lot of people said, I was very upfront. I was direct, no bullshit. That's what came out.
Yes.
No bullshit. So then, and this is a good thing you can do, right? If you run a business and you probably, you don't need to be on LinkedIn. I know I have a client that's made like $1 million and he's not got any kind of presence on LinkedIn, but he's now thinking about it. So ask your clients again, how did they feel when they bought your service? Because you'll notice they'll probably all say the same thing or similar words effect. And ask people, what if you're already creating content on LinkedIn and you feel like, oh, I just need to take it that next level. I need to make my offer better. What is it about your content that, what do people like? How is it different? What's different about it? And they will say something, and you'll notice a pattern emerging, right? So many people said to me, you're upfront, you're direct, there's no bullshit. You're the real you. They said, we can tell that, when we get, like, I know that you're the real you. People would say that as well. So that's also going to help you with your offer, right? If
so
I had like lots of memes on LinkedIn, I don't know what people would have said about me. Would they taken me seriously?
I mean, I think it does depend on how you show up on those calls, but at the same point, like, the authenticity matters. Showing up as yourself matters. So many people are using AI to shortcut things right now. And like you said, when you show up and you are who you present yourself as, and I get people who are like, oh, Lauren, I met you in person. You do look like how you look on. I'm like, yo, I do lives. Like, I can't fake this. It's live.
This is another thing I'd say as well. Yeah, you can't. And I think LinkedIn is the best platform as well, because people aren't fake.
Yes.
There's a more serious tone to it. It's business, right? It's business, but there's a fun element as well. So this is the thing. Doing a webinar, some kind of webinar event every month on LinkedIn is great, because you can invite 1,000 connections a week. You usually promote it 3 weeks before, and it's a great way to help you generate leads and clients, because people want a bit of the real you, right? If people are on the fence about working with you, they turn up to your event, they're like, oh wow, that was amazing. So another good thing to think about, not enough people do events. There's not enough events. Ooh, the lights come on now. There's not, wow, it's so bright, it's actually too bright. But there's not enough events. I don't see enough people doing events on LinkedIn about, and shouting out about how great, well, not how great they are, but showcasing their talent. I don't see it.
100%. No, we don't. All right, the lights are on. The show is ending. We'll do the last part really quick, the Fun Friday fact, and then we will do the giveaway. Charlotte, will you tell everybody what is the Fun Friday fact of the day?
The Fun Friday fact. Oh gosh. I've got a few. I don't know where to start. So I'll start with this is a bit, I don't know if this is fun, but I just did like a 75-day hard challenge where you give up a lot of food. Basically, you build muscle. And I didn't know this. This is more of, did you know that caffeine, your fat cells caffeine makes fat stick to your body. So when you give up caffeine, I gave up caffeine for 3 weeks. This was an amazing thing that I did. It was life-changing, because your brain becomes, you spend 75 days doing this program. It's a health fitness program, but it's also, you change the way you eat, you change your habits, and your brain is on this peak performance. And you give up caffeine in the last 3 weeks. It's 11 weeks long, because you're doing the exercises they tell you to do and everything. And you realize, wow, it's the first, I've done it 2 times now. I did it in January. I did it in, finished in March, and I did it in May, and I finished just like a week ago. The first time I gave up caffeine on the first one, I was like, oh, this is hard. I feel quite tired, right? The second time now that I've just done it now, I gave up caffeine. I was like, wow, this actually feels really good. And the reason that we give up the caffeine is because we want to get that final look where, you know, all of our hard efforts have paid off over the 11 weeks, but the caffeine just makes the fat cells stick to your body.
Man. So are you going to keep drinking caffeine, or are you done for good?
Oh, I have 1 cup of coffee a day. So that's in the morning. I've had that in the last week. I'm going to be doing this again in September. So I'm now more of the, yes, I want to give it up, but I've changed, because I used to have like probably 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day, and caffeine fuels your anxiety as well.
Yes.
So it does a lot of things that you're not really aware of. It actually stimulates the arousal part of your brain. So it doesn't give you energy. People think it doesn't. It just makes you feel more aroused, like awake. But when you give it up, when giving it up the second time, I thought, this is actually not as hard as what I thought it was. Yeah, I like the taste of coffee. Who doesn't? But some people don't. But
right.
I thought, wow, this is actually quite powerful. And you notice, you know, you really feel it.
All right. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do 75 hard, but I would consider giving up caffeine for a little while.
Yeah, 75 hard. You know, it's not. I was of the mindset of, oh no, it's going to be like, I don't want to do it, but it's actually it was a really great experience. I'd highly recommend it.
The only thing that I get worried about is that you have to do one exercise outside every day, and it's hurricane season, and I live in Florida. Like, no. It's about to be the worst weather for the next 2 weeks. I'm not going to go exercise outside. I would do 2 exercises inside, but I'm not going to go exercise in the hurricane. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's managed online as well. So I did mine via like a Facebook group, but the energy from it was really good. Yeah, I highly recommend, especially, you know, when you run your own business, you have higher levels of stress.
Yep.
Your anxiety levels, and you've got to manage your mindset. I didn't mention this earlier, but you know, I'm used to that from being in a sales role for so long. But when you're running your own business, your mind is everything. You're constantly being challenged, and you're being thrown. You're being thrown like a curveball every day, practically. So
yep.
The reason I did it was because I thought, I want to see what I'm like when I do it, and I'm a lot calmer, less stressed. Yes. Brain is on peak performance, and I felt like a level of clarity, just a mental clarity, that when you give up certain foods and certain, you know, things that you eat, you realize, you think, wow. Yeah.
All right. We're about to give away this tiny terracotta tomato plant.
Tomato.
All right. And then I'm going to let Charlotte go because it is late and we are over time. Are you ready?
I'm actually sweating. It's about like 90 Fahrenheit outside.
Ooh, let me share this screen. We will get this done. We had 7 people enter for the tiny tomato plant. Let's see who's going to get it today. Will it be Andrew or Wendy or the natural wildflower or Lee or Liz? Marcello, who showed up in the comments today. Whoop, whoop. Congratulations. I am
Marcello, hablas español.
I don't know if you've ever won anything on the show before, but congratulations. I will DM you. We will get that over to you. Charlotte, any final words for the people before we skedoot out of here?
Go get your next client.
Yes, go get your next client. If you need help, DM us. We will help you. Rewind the show first. Don't ask questions we already answered, but we will help you make your offer irresistible. And you got this. If your mind's playing tricks on you, don't stress. And y'all, enjoy your weekend. You know what I always say. If you didn't enjoy it, don't come back. Bye.
Bye.